Today, we are here to learn something. Round of applause. As you, hold up. Before we even get to that, before you see, yes, I have a heater going on. What about it? It's what, 40, no. Actually, temps to drop right now. So it's, 30 degrees. And I'm in a garage. Explain that. But today, we are on learning timing. What is blue raspberry?
Everyone
I don't know.
has a favorite flavor.
Blue raspberry hits though until I figured out that wasn't really a fruit. I was like, what?
Strawberry
What?
or grape or pina colada if you were the weird kid.
I thought that's
However,
what the
there's an
raspberries were.
unspoken agreement that every flavor is based on something you'd eat in the real world. And nothing throws a funky monkey wrench into the works like blue raspberry. This Frankenstein's monster of sugary creations with its distinct electric color can't be based on anything found in nature, can it? Well, today we're heading into the flavor labs with one mission. What the heck is blue raspberry? But before we get started, be sure to subscribe to you.
No.
The flavor known around the world today as blue raspberry had a very humble beginning. Originally, the flavor was invented by a company named Gold Medal. They were purveyors of cotton candies, snow cones, and other sugary snacks. In particular, they sold an array of flavored syrups with their snow cones to help cool down hordes of small children during the summer months. Hey, lightening their wallets a bit is technically helping too. One of those flavors was blue raspberry. So why call it blue raspberry when everyone knows that raspberries are red?
Nigga, there's green berries? What is this? Since when has that been a thing? That's what they look like before they turn red? Or do they stay like that?
It's simple. They didn't want to get sued
Look
out
at
of
spider
existence.
webs, bro.
In the late 1950s, many people were suspicious of the alleged health risks posed by a certain type of red dye used in many raspberry-flavored items. So being associated with the dye wasn't great for snow cone sales. They also wanted to be able to differentiate the flavors from others that used the same color, like watermelon. Mixing up raspberry and watermelon is like tossing a hand grenade in an Easter basket. In 1957, an industry-wide test was done, assessing the carcinogenic capabilities of the dye and declaring red food dye number 2 was totally safe. However, this test was funded by the food industry, so it didn't totally convince everyone. Red dye 2 was banned shortly afterward by the Color Additive Amendment of 1960, which set a higher standard of food safety when it came to dye and color processing. So I guess people were right not to trust it. The flavor is an imitation of the taste of a black-cap raspberry, which is white rather than blue, although it's sometimes referred to as a blue raspberry. Turns out, red wasn't the right color either. Today, no berries are used in this process. But back in the 50s, real fruit was still in the mix. It wasn't until the 1970s
Damn, I
that
wonder
blue
what that actually
raspberry
tastes
really
like.
took off as a flavor, when the flavor met the ideal means of conveyance, the icy. The icy wasn't the first frozen dessert to feature blue raspberry flavoring, but it was definitely the most popular, taking off with Americans in the 1970s. Around the same time, Otter Pops introduced their electric blue water, and these two converged to propel blue raspberry flavor
I got
to
dancing
14
shit on my
heights of
screen.
popularity. Add to that the introduction of FD and C blue dye number 1, and generations of people around the globe fell in love with a fruit that technically doesn't exist. Gold Medal, the brand most centrally involved in the creation of the flavor, was founded in 1931. They originally made their name selling shaved ice with Clix Cola syrup. Today we call these snow cones. It definitely rolls off the tongue better than Clix Cola syrup. Frankly, that sounds like the worst Star Wars character. At the height of the Great Depression, a man named David C. Evans borrowed $2,000 against his home. He used this money to buy the King's Ink business, which would eventually evolve through decades of
How do you think he sounds? The way he looks, how do you think he sounds? Hey, what'd you, champ? I just bought a new house, champ. Like, bruh, he's probably on that bullshit, bruh. I can imagine this square-ass nigga with a cigar.
this money to buy the
Moving on.
King's Ink business, which would eventually evolve through
How you
decades of
doing?
experimentation and innovation into Gold Medal. Gold Medal's first product was a drink concentrate, which was sold at carnivals and amusement parks. A drink
What'd you say? What'd you say?
concentrate is essentially a drink with all of the water removed, leaving only the pure, delicious juice, or booze, whichever you happen to be making. In 1937, after suffering a setback due to a massive flood, Evans pioneered the invention of selling not just shaved ice, but shaved ice machines. He named them snow cone cups and began distributing the machines along with syrups, dispensers, and popcorn machines, proving once again that the key to success is accessories. Just ask Barbie. As snow cones took off across the country, so did gold medals standing culturally. By the time 1949 rolled around, he had a massive
Why they
office
eating
filled with
that
gold
shit
medals
so
standing.
hard,
Just ask
bruh?
Barbie. As snow
Is he sharing a snow cone?
cones took off across success is accessories. Just ask Barbie. As snow cones
I was gonna say, hey, yo, why is he staring him so hard
off.
while he eating that shit? Oh man, is this racist if I say this shit? He kind of looked like, yeah. I'm sorry if this is offensive. He just remind me of Jason the Ween, bruh. Look at him. He kind of got that face. Kind of got that old
across the
Jason the
country,
Ween face.
so did gold medals standing culturally. By the time
No
1949
racial. No
rolled
racial.
around, he had a
I
massive
swear, no
office
racial.
building and a gigantic factory manufacturing snow cone machines that were spewing blue raz ices nationwide. So while we'll probably never know who first brewed the flavor, you could trace the origins of snow cones and the introduction of blue raspberry directly back to David C. Evans. Along with the inexplicable rise in sightings of Bigfoot, blue raspberry took the world by storm in the 1970s. Are the two related? It's impossible to say. Whether or not it was
Bigfoot?
spread across America by the noble Sasquatch, the flavor began to be featured in a wide variety of candies, including major schoolyard players like
Where are y'all ranking the blue raspberry gummy? What are those? What was those called? The gummy Jolly Ranchers and the actual Jolly Rancher. Excuse me. Where do y'all rank those?
flavor began to be featured in a wide variety of
personally-
candies, including major schoolyard
top
players
two.
like Jolly
They
Rancher
top
and
two.
Airheads. By the time the 80s
Out of
and
all the
90s
flavors,
rolled
top
around,
two.
Blue Raz was the coolest flavor on the block for any kid worth their weight in Gatorade and sour gummies. And Powerade, if the store was out of the real stuff. Not only was the flavor firmly cemented in the cultural consciousness, but
Hell
many
flavor.
people forgot it's not a real flavor. There are no naturally occurring blue raspberries. During the flavor's 90s peak, it became part of the extreme trend of advertising aimed at teens and adolescents, because blue raspberries are just that outrageous.
Get you a blue raspberry, kids. Get you a blue raspberry. Come get your blue raspberry.
Nigga, who's aiming at that teenager, bro? Oh, damn. Yo, Jacob, did you see the blue raspberries? Duh. What the fuck? What type of situation would you be in to see that? What?
Believe it or not, there are more
Nigga is
misconceptions
stupid.
around blue
That is the
raspberry
horrible-
than just
that's
its
the worst
name.
marketing.
The first misconception we should address is
But I
that
mean, it
despite
kinda did
being
work,
a
though.
fruit,
It kinda did work.
sort of, blue raspberry is not a healthier choice than anything else containing tons of sugar. This probably sounds obvious to most of you, but during those years of telephone game-style rumors around Red Dye Number 2, the flavor somehow earned a niche reputation as some kind of around Red Dye Number 2. The flavor somehow earned a niche reputation as some kind of superfood sweet treat. In general, your blue
When the fuck did Airheads hire Aladdin?
Raz treat contains as much fruit juice as a melted blow pop. Speaking of which, despite being based on a real-life species of raspberry, blue raspberry flavor isn't produced using any real berries, and hasn't been for some time. The flavor, as we all know it today, is entirely artificial. Now, blue raspberry's extreme reputation and
I remember
totally rad
those.
coloration may seem almost quintessentially American.
What?
The flavor is more worldly than you might have expected. It's very popular in Latin America, Japan, and South Korea. Many places in Europe also enjoy rollerblading with the blue raz. As with many of our cultural exports, it has now grown in popularity across the globe, like the Fast and Furious franchise, which itself is quite extreme. Okay, so we've given you all the sweet and sour details of the flavor's history, but you're probably still wondering what the heck is in it, considering fruit waved goodbye to the recipe long before most of us were born. In a nutshell, the flavor is a synthetic blend of flavor compounds, sometimes referred to as ester, which are carefully considered by chemists. They're then combined to reproduce and accentuate a flavor profile of various sweet and tart flavors. This is accomplished by utilizing ethyl butyrate, which is usually included for its pineapple-like aura, methylanthranilate, which brings a grapey flavor and a sort of flowery and earthy adjacent sensation, isoamyl acetate, which brings a completely different level of sweetness, and ethyl.
Not gonna lie, if you prefer the red grapes over the white grapes, you are a freak. I don't know what is up with you if you prefer those. You're a nutcase.
Maltol, which is a sort of sharp, almost cotton candy-like note. The radness is added by tossing the mixture into a washing machine with an Ultimate Warrior t-shirt. The mixture is topped off with a raft of artificial sweeteners and then bedazzled with Brilliant Blue Dye No. 1 and its retinue of stabilizers and preservatives. Blue Dye No. 1 doesn't go anywhere without a crew. That's why it's number 1. The recipe kind of makes it sound like a mad scientist's homebrew. And even though the Food and Drug Administration has approved every ingredient for human consumption, history might be repeating itself. There have been multiple studies done on the effects of Brilliant Blue specifically. Much like its forebearer, Red Dye No. 2, Brilliant Blue has been linked to hyperactivity disorders in children and violent allergic reactions. Apparently, some people are allergic to Ratatouille. Today, Blue Raspberry is on top of the world. It's a firmly entrenched flavor, known and celebrated around the globe. It's also a flavor that only exists as a commercial product.
Underrated candy right there.
Novelty
That's
to its
underrated.
existence.
Hold the fuck up.
That exists as a commercial product, which adds
Oh, I thought this nigga had his nails
a
burned.
strange novelty to its existence. It's the cryptid
I was
of
just
fruit
seeing.
flavors. Maybe Bigfoot really was behind it. So what do you think? Are you a Blue Raspberry fan? Let us know in the comments below. And while you're at it, check out some of these other weird history.
Nah, y'all heard the man. They'll pop up right here, right here, right here. Subscribe, you know. Y'all know the thug dizzle. Right here, right here. You know, check out the videos. Roll the credits.